you've got two options in Pixlr, two to choose from. You'll notice the top one here is Pixlr E, and the bottom is Pixlr X. Well, the one that we're going to use is Pixlr E. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start by clicking Create New Image. It's right here under the Open Image button there. It's real small, New Image. And I've got some choices here for image size. Okay, so your options here, they've got some presets that you can use. Also, you can create a width and a height, and these are in pixels. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a header and footer for our web page. So I'm just going to name this header, and I'm going to make the width. We're going to go ahead with 1,000 pixels wide, and then I'm going to make the height 300 pixels. And so once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and create. Now I want to point you to a couple things that'll be important. First of all, you're going to use your layer palette over here because we're going to have different layers. Notice here that it has a history. If you've ever used Photoshop, you know that Photoshop, you can't just like undo, undo, undo. You have to go through history, and you can step back and forth through history. Now, I'm not sure about the new Photoshop, but the old Photoshop, you could only undo one time, and you had to go through history to undo things. So that's right here. And then your navigate. I'm not going to use the navigate because my document's so small. I could just go ahead and close the navigate area so I have more room for my history and for my layers, because I'm going to need more room for that. Over here, you've got the standard tools that you might see in Photoshop. The good thing about these tools is if you roll over it, it tells you what it is. Like here, for example, we'll use the magic wand. We're going to use that. So definitely know what that is. Cropping tool, you've seen that before. Text tool down here. And there's various other tools here that you will need. Shape tool also. We will use that. Up here we have some drop-down menus. The filter we use quite a bit. The layers we can also use up here, or we can do a lot of that right here in the right-hand side. And then some other things for adjustments sometimes we use. Okay, so we're going to make this banner here, but for our banner, we are going to make a website for dog product. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to go to Google, and we need to find an image. So I'm going to type in dog. I'm going to try to find dog on white background. Okay, and I'm going to go to images right here. And I've got a whole bunch of dogs. Now, if you need a really big, good quality dog, you can also click on tools, and you can change the size of this to any large ones. Okay, and any size for us is okay because we're using like a small area. So now you're going to need to select dog. Okay, it could be any dog you want. Just select one of these dogs, scroll down, find one. The problem with selecting white dogs is you could have a problem with tolerance, but if you want to try one, I'll show you how to do that. So I'm just going to select this dog right here, and I want to take this dog and I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to save the image as, and I'm just going to save it as my desktop. You could save it to Google Drive. You could save it wherever you want to save it. Downloads folder is fine. So I've got a dog, and I want to see it in my folder. Here he is right there. I'm going to go back to Pixlr, and now I'm going to open a new document, a new image. And for this one here, I will just go full HD. It'll be easy to do. So I've got two documents open now. I've got my header here, and I've got another one right here, my untiled one. It's full HD. Now I want to bring in my dog picture. To do that, I'm going to bring it in through the layers. So you see the layers here. I've got this one background layer here. I'm going to click on the plus sign, or I can hover over the plus sign. And you'll see I've got different types of layers that I could bring in here. One of them is an image layer. I'm going to click on that. Now I need to find my image, my dog I just got, and I'm going to open that up. So I got a nice, cute dog there. I can make it bigger if I want, if I need to see it a little bit better. Okay. What I want to do is I want to cut all this white background away from this dog. There's a couple ways I can do it. I could actually get the eraser and carefully go around the dog and erase all the white. That would be pretty tedious, but it can be done. Okay. In Photoshop, they have other tools that you can use. They have a lasso that is magnetic and it's really cool, but we don't have that in this program because it's free. But that's okay. We can make it work. We're going to use the wand select, the magic wand right here, the wand select. Second tool down on the right, we're going to click on that. You'll notice at the top there's a ribbon up here. I've got some different features on it. One of them that's really important is the tolerance feature. Okay? And what this does is if you have like a background and your object you're trying to cut out is about the same color, sometimes when you select it, it will select the wrong things. So you can change the tolerance up and down to adjust that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this and select my white. Now you'll notice because I picked a really good picture, an easy picture, it selected the dog pretty well. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can maybe see it a little bit better. Hold on. Notice also I'm zooming in and zooming out. If I hold the control down, if you're on a PC, and hit the plus sign, it'll zoom in. And if I go minus, it'll zoom out. I always use that on the Mac so I can zoom in and zoom out. And you could see it selected this pretty well. Also, if I want to move around, if I hold the space bar down and use my mouse, I can move around my image really well. And that's just holding the space bar down and clicking. I know some of you guys have trackpads, so that's not as good. So right here, you notice I don't have between his legs. It's not selected. If I hold the shift again and get the magic wand and select there, it will also select that. So I held the shift down to select that also. I still have this little spot here that I need to get rid of. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the delete key and delete the backgrounds. So you see that he's cut out. So you see what happens when I bring the tolerance way up? It selected really the wrong stuff. So I'm going the wrong direction on the tolerance. Maybe I want to go down some. Maybe I'll go down to 20. So I'm going to deselect. To deselect, you can do it a couple different ways. You can go to the select up here and go deselect, or I like to go the control D, deselect. And then I'm going to try it one more time and see if this will be better. I'm going to move the feather all the way down and just bring it up to about 10 and then try it again. Now I'm going to hold the shift key and go right between his legs, and then I'm going to hit the delete key and delete that. I still have a little bit more that I have to get rid of. I got this down here, so I'm going to deselect by go Control D, or again, you can go to select and deselect there, either way. And I'm going to get my eraser, and I can go ahead and erase parts of this. And you may have to take some time doing this, or if you want, you can try the selection key again. You can go and use the magic wand, and you can just try to select this white and see what it does. Now, it's selecting part of the paw, so I want to deselect, maybe change the tolerance. See if I bring it down, let's see what happens. Okay, look, I got a better selection. So I'm going to hit delete on that. I can try it again and see if I do okay there. That one is not quite right. So I'm going to deselect, and then I might change the tolerance again. So you just kind of have to experiment with this and see if you can get the results that you want to get. Okay, you can always just go here with the eraser and erase it. Okay, and sometimes that's the best solution. You notice with the eraser that I can either go, I could go a less opacity, meaning it's more transparent, or I can make the size bigger. I can make it softer. So sometimes that's the best thing to do, especially if you're going to go up against this fur. You know, maybe a softer would be better, and so that I don't get like a hard edge there. So it may take a little bit of work to do this right, but if you don't do it, your results will be poor. Okay, so what I want to do is I'm going to select this dog, select all, and I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go to my header, and I'm going to paste it. Now he's way too big, so we got to make him a little bit smaller here. Okay, and you see if I click here, I can just grab the corners and make them smaller. It's just an easy way to do it. Okay, we got our dog right there. I can put him anywhere on here, wherever I want. Make it a little bit bigger or a little bit smaller. And we'll just kind of see where our design takes us. Now what I want to do is I want to name this layer, because when you get a lot of layers, you better start naming them. To do that, you hit the three little dots, and I'm just going to type in dog. Okay, we got our dog there. Okay, so we want to make this a header. I could just fill in the space with color, but I really don't want to do that. I want to make some kind of nice header that looks good, that is inviting, that will draw your web reader in. Okay, so I want to go with a shape. I'm going to use a shape. And to do this, I want to probably add another layer. So I'm going to go here to the layers, and I'm going to select the shape layer. Okay, and you'll see I have a shape there. Now what I thought I would do, and again, you can try some things and see what works for you. If you hold the shift down, you can change the proportions of it. But if you don't hold the shift down, if you make it bigger, the proportions change. So hold the shift down and grab the corner, and you can change the proportions of this. And I wanted to do that. Okay. And I'd like to change the color of this. So I'm going to click on the color, and I'm going to get a different color here. Maybe I like I don't know, maybe nice blue. I don't know. Maybe I want to go with a purple. We'll have to just experiment and see what we like. Maybe this color. It looks like a watermelon color. Let's try a watermelon color. Now I've got a color here. I have to fill this shape. Oh, I have to do it up here. Sorry. I just gave you the wrong information. I have to fill this shape here. I'm going to click here. There we go. We got to do it on the ribbon. Sorry. Okay. Now, obviously, the dog is in back there, so I need to see the dog. I just have to move him up on the layers by grabbing the dog and moving the layer to the top. So I have to decide, do I like this color? I don't. Let's try something else. How about that color? Okay. Oh, you can also do a gradient. Maybe I could do a gradient or a pattern. I don't know if I like the patterns. In the gradient, you can just choose a color. Maybe I want to go with a more purplish color. I don't know. And I just have to kind of try some colors and see what I like. And you have different gradients that you can go from one color to another color. You can change this. You could slide this over so you have more black or you have more purple.
How do you
But
change the color?
you just have to click on right here.
Where's that at?
Okay. So you have to go to the top ribbon and you click right where it says fill. Now you can change this color here to white. Let's say I want to go to white here instead. And I don't, hold on, I got to cancel out of that real quick. We're having a little issue there. There we go. Okay. So I can choose and change these colors right here. And maybe I want to go with white. And I think on Photoshop I can switch these. There we go. So it's the same. Maybe I want to go with some color and then a gradient down this way. Okay, except for it did not change. Let's try that again. I got it selected. Oh, I didn't have it selected. So I did not have it selected, so that's an issue. You got to get selected. So I'm going to go with a gradient. And I've got to select one of these gradients here. Oh, I kind of like that. So maybe I should go with white and go with a color over here. Oh, I got to move the opacity up. That's my problem. I didn't move the opacity. So the opacity was at 0. So
change color of the
Hey,
shape.
Mr.
well, you need to change the color, but it doesn't matter whatever color you want to change it to. It's fine with me.
It's shapes all.
You know, Mrs. White?
Yeah.
I did this with her last year.
You did with Photoshop, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you may have done it with Pixlr.
Nah, I did it with Pixlr too. A little bit.
Okay, so what was the problem?
It won't let me like film the shape because it's not an image.
Okay, so did you create a shape with another layer?
Yeah.
And so you have the shape with another layer. Delete that shape, that layer. You can delete that layer and then add another layer. Select the shape. Okay, now go to the top ribbon. The top, where the color is, the gray is. No, to the right. There you go, right there. See the color fill, where it says fill? Now, that's where you would change it. Okay, does that help?
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you get that, like, the layers behind the gradient or whatever?
Okay, so to move the layers, all you have to do is grab like the dog. I see I grabbed him, I dropped him down.
Oh, okay.
Just move the layer on top. So here what you have to do is just fool around with these here. You don't want a gradient. There's different gradients. You have some pre-selected ones. You could go with those. You want to try that? Oh, I have to select. Remember, you have to select your shape to do that. Okay, and so if you don't select your shape, it will not go. And you could try some different things and see if there's some things you like. You could make your own if you want a special color. Get creative with it and try something and see how it works for you. Okay. And, again, you can make adjustments here with the sliders. You can change the opacity. So if you want it to be lighter or darker, you can make it so it's a little bit, translucent here. You can do that. That's perfectly fine. Okay, and you can just fool around with that, see what you can come up with. Okay, here's another thing that I've done, and I haven't done this with a gradient. They have something called styles. You could do like a drop shadow or an outline. So for this shape, if I wanted to put an outline around it, I could put an outline around this. I can make it a different color if you want to do that. And this might work for you for a different thing. If you got something you want to put an outline around, maybe this would work for you. Okay. And you can just mess around with this until you have what you want. Maybe if on the layer you can dump white in there just so you can see what it looks like on a white page. So what I did was I went to the bottom layer, and I'm going to rename this. Try to rename them. I'm going to call it background. And then I'm going to get the paint bucket, get some white paint, and dump some white paint in there so I can see what it would look like. Okay. So I'm not really seeing the dog very well. I got my layer here, my shape layer. I put an outline around it, but I'm not sure I really like that. So I can select this again. If you go to that layer and it's not selected, go over here to the tools where you see the layer, the shape tool here, and you can select that again. And I can change my style from no border. And then you can go to shadow and add a drop shadow if you want to. So I got like a drop shadow right behind this little dog. You can kind of see it. I kind of got it darker and lighter. I'm trying to get the dog to show up a little bit better. I'm afraid he's a little bit washed out. So what I might do is get the drop shadow behind the dog. And you can do that also just like we did this. So I'm going to go to the dog layer, and I am going to, I need to select the dog. So if I go to the dog layer and I use my magic wand and select the background, and then I can do what's called an inverse or invert, depending on the program you're looking at. It says invert selection. Okay, and then I can go and I think I can put a drop shadow on this little guy. Let me see how I do it. I've done it before, but I'm not sure how. There we go, drop shadow under filter. And you can see I can put a drop shadow there. And I can use the different offsets. Want it to go more to the side, want it to go more to the top, want it to go more to the bottom. You can change that. There we go. Maybe I want it to be on the bottom. You just have to kind of try some things and see what you like. So I got a little drop shadow on him, and I deselect. Pretty good shape. I may not like the shadow on the shape. So if I want to go back here to the shape layer, click on the tools over here where it says shape, so I can select that. And I can go back and change the style to no drop shadow for that and just have it drop shadow on the dog. I think that works better for me. Okay, I'm just going to deselect there. And I've got a little doggy, and he is right in front of that shape, and there's a little shadow, so it looks like he's in front of that. Okay, how are we doing? Everybody getting that?
No.
Hey, I need help.
Okay, well, I'm making this video now, and you may have to watch it later, but are you on Pixlr yet?
Yeah.
But you did this last year with Mrs. White? You should know what to do, right? Okay, you just have to go on Google and find a dog with a white background.
Oh, the dog gotta have a white background?
It will be easier. You can get a dog without a white background, but if you want to make it easy, get the white background because you can cut it out easier. It's harder to cut out. If you get a dog without the white background, it's going to be harder to do. Okay, another thing I want to show you real quick is my dog, like I said, is kind of washed out. I'd like to make that dog a little bit like darker. And there's a couple ways I can do that. Is I can go to my dog layer and I can go to adjustments and I can just adjust the brightness and contrast. So I can change the brightness so we see is more washed out or less washed out. But I want him a little bit darker. I just feel like he's just washed out a bit and he doesn't look good. So I can change that. I can also go and do an adjustment like on the color. If I wanted to change the hue or saturation, okay, the temperature or the tint, and you can kind of fool around with these, the color balance. Sometimes like in Photoshop, it gives you just like automatic, color balance, and you can do that, or you can change it on your own. You can make it look more green or more red or more purple or more blue, and you can try those to change the way it looks. So in this adjustment, there's a whole bunch of photo adjustments. So here's an auto adjust right here. Let's just click on that and see what it does. Okay, it gave me a little bit nicer color. I kind of like the auto adjust. So it looks pretty good.
When will you post this video?
As soon as I can. I can't guarantee I can get it done right away, but I'm going to try.
All right, appreciate it.
Okay. So we don't have that much more time. I don't know, what time do we get out of here? 26? We got a few more minutes. Let's go ahead and add some text. So we want to add some text now to our dog food or dog business. Maybe this is a groomer. Maybe you are selling products for dogs. You can decide. You have to make up a fake name. So to do that, we're going to make our headline here. We're going to go to our layer. We're going to add a text layer. And I want to show you that you have right up here on your ribbon, you have lots of different fonts. These ones with the little crown are ones they want you to buy. So if you don't want to buy them, I suggest don't use them. Okay? And so you can look for a font that will work for you. Okay? there might be a good font here. And if there isn't, then you've got some options. One option is you can find a free font on the internet. Okay, I will show you how to do that real quick. If you go to a new window and you go to Google, you put like fonts free, and you can find a website like this 1001 free fonts is pretty good. I use this quite a bit. And you want a certain kind of font, you can search it. Okay, or you can use these categories. Maybe you want a bold font. Maybe you would like, maybe you want like, I'll just say bold. And so what it does is it gives you a whole bunch of bold fonts. Okay, maybe you just type in here dog. Let's just see what happens if we type in dog. Okay, so it gives us some dog fonts. Look at that. So maybe I like this dog rough font, and I'm going to download that. Okay, once I download that, if I open that up, now on your Chromebooks, this may be a little different. You may have to like double click on this on your Chromebook to install it, okay, or to unzip it. It might be compressed. Right here, I have extract. Yours may be a little bit different, but you may have to extract it. Okay, so I extracted it. It's right there. So you may have to do that on your Chromebook. I think on the Chromebook, you might double click it and it may work. Now, if I go back to Pixlr, I can add a local font down at the very bottom, and I can go find my fonts. Here's mine that I extracted. There's the font, open it up. And now if I scroll to the top, I should see dog rough. Okay. And I can change the size of this. And I got to come up with a name. Oh, that might be a little bit big. Maybe a little bit bigger. Okay, so now I need to come up with a good name for my dog website. How about dog stuff? Great name, dog stuff. Okay, I can change the color. Try a color and see if there's a color I like. Okay, and I can mess around with that. I can even add the drop shadow. I can make it a gradient. I can do a lot with this. Okay, I can also change like the letter spacing. I want to space out the letters. I could try that. Maybe for dog stuff, I need to space out the letters. Maybe I want to make this in white and add a drop shadow. Okay, I can do that. And not in gray for sure. That's the default, but I really don't like it. I don't like that default. Okay, and I can make the opacity really high so it stands out. And I can change the distance. I can move it closer or farther away. I can blur it less or more. Okay. And obviously I can move this around. Now we're running out of time for today, so I want to show you how to save this. I can also put an outline around this. I could do other things to this, but for today, we're going to have to just save it so that we can work on it tomorrow. So here's how you save it. There's a couple ways you can do this. You can go to File and Save. You've got 4 options here. You can save it as a JPEG. If you do that, you cannot edit it tomorrow. It's flattened, it's done. If you want to edit it again, click on the one that says PXZ, and then you download. And this will download to your downloads folder. When you're done with it, you want to put it on a website, then you have to save it differently. You can't use that file type. Okay, hit save, and then remember, choose this PXZ, and then you download it. If you want to save it for your web page, then you would use it JPEG or PNG. Now, if you use the same computer tomorrow, it will be saved in your memory, in your cache. But if the cache is cleared, this disappears. And at least you have the download. You can go back and open up again.